All right, back with another Q&A, and I got a few questions I'm going to go ahead and answer because Instagram took them off my story because I used the word peptide, and that kind of sucks, but it's good because that means my channel is growing thanks to you all. It is increasing thousands of percents every month according to my analytics. So we'll jump right into it. Question was about two peptides that I am excited about because these are things that I want to make sure to put out into the world, available for everybody, affordable, and things that I have used and have minimal side effects and inherently zero adverse effects. So I'm going to share my screen. So this is going to be the first one, Seractide. So I'm really interested in this one just because it does help with the adrenal corticotropic hormone. So we're looking at people who have autoimmune diseases, especially like Addison's disease, where they need help with managing the adrenal system. So a lot of times, what we do in the fitness industry and in the health industry is that we take herbs and other vitamins and minerals and eat a certain way and live a lifestyle a certain way to manage cortisol. So this peptide may help with regulating cortisol. So whether it's low or high, it'll regulate it to where it's needed to be an anti-inflammatory effect for the body and a healing effect. So um, it can help with the metabolic regulation as well for like blood sugar because if cortisol is too high, we can have a very high blood glucose level, and then that can lead to other issues systemically with insulin resistance, right? But this, in my opinion, would be a better option because it's very homogeneous versus these herbs that we're taking, like ashwagandha, depending on the withanoid percentage, would either help manage, lower, or increase cortisol. Rhodiola has an extent to help with cortisol, regulating dopamine, serotonin. Uh, Holy basil, magnolia, emodin, all these things, but they do because sometimes they come with these effects, side effects of like emodin is known to increase stool release, so like increased gastric emptying, and maybe you have a little bit more diarrhea or gas or cramping based on the how well your body absorbs it and the amount that you take, because everyone's amount's a little bit different. Plus, everything out there nowadays seems to have ashwagandha in it. What's the upper tolerable limit? Like we don't really know, but some people they get they just like they get an adverse effect of like having irritability or they have fatigue. So I think that the peptide um, Seractide might be a better option. And again, sometimes these peptides they'll have numbers behind them, letters and numbers, because that's how we categorize when we're in research. But we will often give them names later on after they've been in a few of clinical trials. And a lot of those clinical trials are not human and not like us, like where we do research on them ourselves, and then we allocate that research and discuss amongst each other. And the other peptide that I'm looking at is, I'll share my screen again, just to let you guys see it. Um, Goralitide. It sounds like a GLP-1, but it's not. It helps with the thymus gland. So with thymus B4. So not like TB500 or T1A. Um, this one can help with reducing fibrotic buildup. So whether that be myocardial fibrosis or renal fibrosis, this has been very promising into breaking that down. So long gone would be the days of us bolusing nattokinase and spending tons of money on that and bolusing EPA and omega 3s to the point to where you can smell fish coming out of your urine or in your stool. But so this peptide, it's also TB414. The other one that I mentioned, Seractide, was ACTH139. Anyways, this one also has pretty promising for wound healing as well. So it may be an option, a better option, um, or I guess a different option than BPC 157. So BPC 157 you can keep for joints, tendons, ligaments. This one may help with the epidermal vascular system and the angiogenesis wound healing process. but then also be more cardiovascular protective and even help with liver, kidney, and cardiovascular wall repair, which is great. Okay. Because the last thing we want to do is to end up in renal failure or have a level of CKD that is hard to come off of without dialysis. So we're doing as much as we can, even taking things like astragalus at large doses. Now that also can upset your stomach, but this could be an option that it can just eat away the fibrotic fibers over your glomerular filtration. Um, so, in my in my understanding, it would be a very advantageous peptide to use as a preventative. And a lot of the drugs and the training and such do mess with our blood pressure, and then that's where we can get some issues, blood pressure alongside with blood sugar control. So if it's insulin, blood sugar, blood pressure, if all those are kind of out of whack, you're screwed over a little bit. I don't think lipids are I don't think we understand lipids as well as we do the renal system. Uh, so I'm not sure how all those play uh, ultimately, and I don't think anyone does. It'd be sophomoric to say that they understand them all. But triglycerides obviously are a huge factor. Um, but the balance and then the ratios of lipids are a little bit more what we're looking at. But this can probably help that through referring effectiveness. So the Goralide would be great, helping with reducing the TNF and interleukin 6 to interleukin 6 as well. So being anti-inflammatory, which also brought up another thing. The other question was about like taking all these peptides together and living a healthy lifestyle. Like, is there too much anti-inflammatory? Like, can we be too anti-inflammatic? And I don't think so because everything that we do seems to stimulate or refer inflammation to another part of our body. Our body is not stagnant. It is not linear. It is very volatile and it will change and try to adapt to anything to survive. And if that means creating inflammation to heal certain pathways or to stop the body from, let's say, overtraining or CNS fatigue. Again, overtraining, I don't like that word, but I think it's misused and misunderstood. But the body is way more inflammatory prone than we think. And so I'm a big proponent in taking these peptides that they do help with anti-inflammatory, but that's also because they're increasing mitochondrial efficiency. And I think that's one thing that we are all scared of all these things that are toxins and we need to do all these detoxes and like plastics and phytoestrogens and 5G frequencies and all these things that people are talking about. And we can't get away from it, unfortunately. Like it's just there. Like I don't think dyes in our food are the problem, right? It's moderation and consumption of food and the lack of physical activity. And those combined, the overeating, the lack of physical activity, the overstimulation of sitting there watching TV and doing nothing, that's what's causing your fatness. It's not the red dye. That's not causing cancer. And you can't say that causes cancer because every cancer is different. So to say that it causes cancer, well, show me proof that it causes one cancer. So that means that you have separated someone from society since birth and only gave them foods with red whatever, red 4, red 30, whatever the freaking number is. This is how much I don't care about it. So tell me that you got rid of all other variables and you kept this person at peak performance. Mitochondrial function is optimal, right? It is just efficient. But yet this red dye caused X cancer. Okay, now we have proof for one person. Now you have to multiply that by a couple, right? So we have to get like, let's say 10. 10 is typically a minimum for studies. So 10 participants. So you can't tell me that this is the problem. And so I think that we are a country, a world of inflammation. The only way that you would have too much anti-inflammatory effects in the body is if you are mega dosing with boluses, or you have a disease. Okay. That's the only time that I see where you can become like you can have a lifestyle that is too anti-inflammatory because we need inflammation post-workout to help build muscle. We need the prostaglandins to be active and working. We need to create and stimulate stem cells from bone marrow, right? We need all those things. So when you microfracture, when you work out, you're tearing your muscle fibers. You're also pulling on tendons, which are pulling on the bones, which are microfracturing all the bones. So we make the bones stronger. We release more stem cells or satellite cells, whichever you want to call it, from our bone marrow, right? And that also trains our body not when we're eating healthy and eating in moderation, enough calories with enough physical activity, and we have good mitochondrial health. Bone marrow can also bone marrow also creates fat cells, right? So like we can regulate our fat cells, but we can I'm I assume that we can regulate our body to be able to create fat cells that are, let's say, born or created to become brown adipose tissue rather than white adipose tissue. I believe that we as Americans now we are very white adipose tissue prone creators, right? But again, it goes back to my previous point about lack of activity and overconsumption of foods. But I don't. I think that like what I do. This is my routine. Okay, for supplements, and I take a lot of supplements, and I always have taken a lot of supplements, even whenever I screwed up with health regimens back in the past. Um, and while taking PEDs and all these other things. So vitamin C, I will use 5 to 10 grams of vitamin C per day, and I'm talking every day. Okay, I believe polyphenols are needed. So my diet is rich, highly rich in fruits and vegetables every single meal, and my small meals throughout the day that you might consider snacks. Like I'll just eat an apple, right? I think apples are awesome. They have some compounds in them that are great for metabolic health and creating brown adipose tissue. So apples are my favorite, and I deem them my best fruit for myself. Um, Also, vitamin D, taking that. Magnesium, taking that. Alpha lipoic acid, I take tons of that. I take two, six, eight, 1.8 grams per day. Yeah, magnesium, I take 10 milligrams per kilogram. So it's like I take around 900 milligrams of pure magnesium, of elemental magnesium. Um, Vitamin D, I take 5,000 IUs plus other things that have vitamin D in there. Plus, I get outside a lot. And I know I'm not the most tan, but uh, I'm also very prone to sunburns, but I'm slowly getting my body to regulate to this Texas sun because I'm originally from Florida, but this Texas sun is a little bit different. It's causing me to have more freckles. But the increase in the amount of polyphenols and other like supplements like astaxanthin may help protect the body to create melanin that will help keep some of the skin darker to protect it from the sun, right? So reduce the risk of sunburn. So um, I'm not as tan as you think. I'm not as white as you think. But so I'm taking that. Let's see, what else am I taking? I'm going down my cabinet. So I'm taking SLU. You guys already know that. I'm about to bump it up to 2 milligrams per day. I'm taking MOTS-C. That one, I'm about to do 1 milligram every single day because I believe that MOTS-C loads, and that I will have a different video on that as well. I believe that MOTS-C does load up in the body and stays in the body almost like if we were to talk about creatine, how creatine kind of builds up, same thing with beta alanine. I think MOTS-C does just based on a small experiment I did with 6 milligrams, 2 milligrams, 3 times a day for 3 days. And my next few days without MOTS-C, it was incredible. So I take retatrutide. I'm still at 1 milligram every 7 days. Let's see, what else am I taking? I take thyroid blends from Ancient Nutrition. I take a greens product from Ancient Nutrition. So it's all grass juices. It's not grass, not fiber. I take soil-based probiotics, again from Ancient Nutrition. I take dandelion root. I take astragalus. I take TUDCA. I take NAC because everyone needs more glutathione. I take melatonin. I'm taking 20 milligrams at night before going to bed. Melatonin and glutathione are the greatest antioxidants in the body. You can even check your glutathione levels as well, based on the GGT and how well glutathione and magnesium are working together. Um, let's see, because I take some like blends, right? So I take like a liver blend and a kidney blend from Revive MD. Um, I take betaine HCl on my meals that have higher protein. Um, I take mushrooms as well. So I take a multi mushroom blend, but then I also take reishi, extra reishi at night. So I'm taking I'm taking about 3 grams of mushrooms and probably more because Ancient Nutrition has mushrooms within their probiotics. So I'm probably taking around 5 grams of mushrooms of different types of species of mushrooms, right? Um, so I'm taking all of that, and I think that might be it. And I am taking Emodin at night and post training because I'm a very anxious person and I would like to reduce that. Okay. Um, how I wish this thing had a timer on it. I don't know how long I've been recording, but so that is so I don't think that we can take too much anti-inflammatory stuff because the average person won't, right? We know that the average person lies about whatever that their problem they're coming to us, like when we consult or you coaches. I mean, how often are these people eating what they're eating? They're usually under eating or overeating, or they're under or over training what they say they are. They're either under or over sleep what they are. No one is telling us the truth. So I believe that the more is better. Now you can get to the point where you take it too close to your workouts, and then that's where I'd say, okay, if you're taking a lot of it, then probably let's not have these anti-inflammatory vitamins, minerals around your workouts. But it seems like things like MOTS-C that can have an anti-inflammatory effect as well over a long period of use of time, and even like SS31 that I was taking, you can take it around your workout. It doesn't impede on muscle growth. So I just think that it helps with all the other organs within your body to work better and more efficiently, especially the mitochondria. So if the mitochondria are working fine, it should have enough. The mitochondria should have enough energy, enough workers, and enough supplies to build the defense system and to like to regulate what goes on in your body, like when and when not to mess with a certain damaged cell. I think that the mitochondria not only get more efficient, I think it gets smarter, right? So I think the mitochondria get to the point to where, oh, sorry, it's getting like hot in here, even though I have the fan on. It's Texas heat, man. I think the mitochondria, yeah, they get more ATP in them, but I think they get smarter, dude. I think the more that I look into this, I'm thinking that we are not like we think that organisms within the body and molecules within the body are are just things, right? They're just things in life. Like, I don't even know how to or maybe they're just like people that are working on a manufacturing line. Okay, yeah, that's a better analogy. So like it's just people working on a manufacturing line. Like they can either get more efficient or they don't. Um, I believe that they are more like a freaking a business or a company trying to expand and build. Like they got to hire new people, they got to train new people, they got to educate people, they got to upgrade software, they got to do all these things. They have to become more efficient here and there. I think mitochondria are just getting smarter and they're able to do more. I think of them as like little people that are progressing and able to pick up more traits and more characteristics and more talents and skills. I think mitochondria can create skills. I think that's where we might be missing the mark. So we're doing all these things and we're like, I don't understand why I'm just I'm responding so well to my food, my training, my stress levels. My mood is better at my house. I'm able to focus more on these projects for work. I'm just I'm not tired throughout the day. I don't need to take a nap. 6 hours of sleep, 7 hours of sleep is awesome. I feel great. My joints don't hurt anymore. I think it's just because the mitochondria and the cells and the molecules, all these interactions within our body, like they're gaining new skills. They're literally becoming better. They're not becoming like they don't have more ATP. I think we're looking at a chemical point of view. I think we got to look at it as like a little worker guy point of view. Anyways, that's it for today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. And if you have any questions, please drop them below. Tell me I'm an idiot for what I think is going on. And this is all theory. This is just theory based on research throughout the past, based on like me thinking about it, right? You have to theorize. If we don't theorize, we will never change. And sometimes we think of some crazy stuff and I say it and I put it out in the universe and hopefully something sticks. So, anyways, thank you for listening. See ya.